Make sure my audio is included in the party here. All right. What's up, guys? We are back for episode 2 of the HRL report. The premiere was a couple nights ago. We did the pre-draft and season 13 preview kind of thing. We're going to kind of pick up where we left off there, do some post-draft analysis, some picks and predictions, and look ahead at season 3 and the season opener at Talladega this week. Joining me, I have XG Scarecrow. You know him as a league owner. He was there last or Tuesday night with us doing the draft. We also have Extreme Shockz, owner of Extreme Speed Motorsports and Cup admin and driver, and Jawadi's Tunda, truck driver, truck admin, um, also admin and team owner. And then joining us today, we have Cup driver and admin Fredbob, making an appearance as a guest, and he's going to be hanging out with us all afternoon. How you doing, guys? Y'all excited for season 13? I know we've had a few weeks off here. So, yeah, it's like it's like 3 weeks feels longer, right? Because you're just so used to racing every week. I mean, yeah, we had the test sessions and stuff, but I mean, it's like people are anxious to get back on the track and start a new season. So I get it. I get it. I think the first thing we're gonna kind of go over here this afternoon is the draft, since it's fresh and new in our mind. Let's do some draft reactions and surprises. Um, Actually, let's put a hold on that. Just looking at our thing here, I want to give Shockz the floor for a moment. He usually is good at speaking about these type of things. You want to go ahead and take over that first topic there, Shockz? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an excellent choice to put it race one. Um, I would just say I always loved racing with Mantis. He was a great competitor. I think he really liked super speedways as well. And just to kick off our season 13 at Talladega, getting back to the super speedways. I know they weren't on the schedule last season, and I think it's a great tribute. Just real quick, I'm getting some messages in the Discord saying that people can't hear Fred or Shockz, and that I was a little low. I did turn up mine. They said that I was a little low or something like that. Um, just okay. Yeah, I mean, I have my mic turned on this time, by my audio included in the party, so I think I should be good on my end. Um, but yeah, so like I said, just to wrap it up, like yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to the Mantis Memorial, and it should be a lot of fun. Um, But yeah, moving on to that second topic there that we were getting ready to discuss, and it was draft reactions and surprises. So I guess maybe let's just start off with the surprises part. Let's go around the room kind of here for a second and name a surprise. How about you go first, Crow? Fred, what do you think? What surprises you from the draft?
In the last game and this game, he's just improved week in and week out, and I can still see him. His ceiling, he hasn't reached yet. He's still slowly progressing. That's the way I'm looking at it right now from the draft.
What about you, Tunda? What was your surprise from the draft?
The first and the last pick of the draft kind of caught me off guard. I knew Mustang was going to get picked up, but I didn't think that the first round was going to, or the first pick of the draft was going to go on him. He just came off by far his worst season since he came to HRL and moving down the trucks. We're going to see if he's adapted to the game or what happened with that. Maybe the Cup Series is really, the gap is really as big as we think it is, but it's going to be interesting to see. And Dave, I'd like to see him drafted, but I just thought there were a few better names on the board. But let's see if Dave can prove me wrong this season. I think he's going to have a strong year. He's really going to have a good run tomorrow or next week if he can stay out of trouble at Talladega and see what he can do.
Yeah, I think for me, uh, the biggest surprise was Mustang kind of going number one. I think I mentioned that um, Tuesday night, just because not because I didn't think that he could have success down there, but I just thought that with him making limited starts last season and struggling a bit in Cup, that he would go more mid round of the draft. But then the new surprise that took over the number one spot was definitely Jack falling to the third round, I believe. Um, he was a guy I thought could go round one, maybe even top pick. Cup guy who's won the second series championship before. So to see him fall down to where he did was surprising to me. Um, I'd also say just the number of guys who were drafted that haven't even made a start in HRL. Typically, we don't see as many guys like that get drafted. I think owners were a little bit more to maybe take a risk on guys like that this season, given the fact that they have a couple mulligans each week, with only the top 4 point scorers being counted up. So I think guys were like, I'll take a draft on this guy. It could be really awesome, and if it's not going to kill me because I have a couple spots to work with. So I think those were the biggest two surprises for me. But I guess we can move on. Another topic kind of related to post-draft here. I kind of mapped out here my early team power rankings. I tried not to put any bias into this when I did it, and if Shockz and Tunda kind of want to skip this segment just because they're team owners, that's fine. But but Fred and Crow. So I have it here. It was a tough decision between 1 and 2. I think both these teams could end up being crazy good this year, but I ended up settling on putting Prestige Worldwide number 1 to start the season. I think they have a really strong group. They got Cone and Cobra at the top in the Cup Series, and they're bringing back Seabass and Brad to run at the top in the Truck Series. So I ended up putting them just by a hair over Extreme Speed Motorsports. Although I love what they did, I love what XSM did, getting Mustang and Jack to pair with Metz, the keeper over there on the truck side, and then obviously any Cup side that's led by Shockz is going to be strong. And then I have Nightmare sitting there at 3. They kind of brought back their main core, Dirk and Mudflap, me and DJ, to kind of make a run at that title that we just came up short on last year. At 4, I have Scuderia. They brought back a couple drivers that they had from last year as well. The difference being, I think they're a little stronger on the back end there, and they have Stein as well, who I think could compete for a championship on the Cup side. And then I have Twinkie or Trophy Hunter Racing there in the 5th slot. I loved their second pick, or their number 1, their first round pick in Tata. That's exactly where I had Tata slotted. But there were some picks after that I was thinking maybe they could have done a little bit better. So ultimately, I have them starting in the 5th spot in the preseason power rankings. But I'm wrong a lot, and I'm sure there'll be situations in there where I've got a couple of those wrong too. But what do you guys think, Fred and Crow?
Crow, would you like me to go first? Is that
Sure, you go ahead.
So far, so my 5 ranking would be number 1 is the Extreme Speed Motorsports. I think they had a great draft, especially with Shockz leading the way. Weltang and Tyreek both being rookies. I've seen them in other leagues and how fast they are. I think that's kind of a trio that is going to mesh really well together and kind of dominate. And then you got their truck side team with Jack and Mustang, former Cup guys going down the trucks who didn't perform well in Cup, but I think the truck series is going to suit them better. And they also have Metz, who they acquired in a trade, who dominated a couple of his races in the truck series and did really well. So that's where I see them right now as the number 1 overall team in the power rankings. And I'm going to go with Prestige at number 2. I think they also had another great draft. NLS is a sleeper from what I was reading in chat earlier. He's only been racing on these NASCAR games for a little while, and the kid can drive. He's a great racer, great plate track racer as well. And they've got Line Cone, everyone knows Cone. Guy can dominate a race. Cobra's a big-time sleeper. A lot of people in this league know him, don't know him. He can drive a race car. Brad Seabass, old guy is a road coach ringer. Brad put up one of his best seasons last season, and that's where I have them at 2. And then number 3, I'm probably going to butcher the name, Scuderia, Tunda, that team. Let's
They're
go
both
with that.
right.
I have them at 3. even though I know that Shadow gets a bad rap, he's kind of like Carson Hocevar. He can move the car around. He's a good driver. We saw him win the last race of the year. I think he can put up good numbers this season. LTX is a guy that came on strong all last season, and he can drive the wheels off a car. Stein, he has tracks that he can dominate at. Dover, very good at, and a couple other tracks. I think that's a great Cup team that they put together right there for them to slide them up in the power rankings to 3. Their truck team is a boomer bust. If Chase shows up and runs, he can drive a truck. Tunda's going to get you solid points. Hit it. He's coming along too, and he's a good truck driver. And then at number 4, I have Nightmare. Nightmare, they're running back pretty much the same nucleus they had from a year ago. Nilla's going to put up great points. DJ, he's coming along. He's a solid racer and a good driver. Row the boat, he's boom or bust. He can be top 5, top 10, or he's going to fall back in the race. We'll soon see how he does on the Nightmare squad. And then their truck team is solid. Mudflap's going to get you a lot of stage points, compete for victory. Same thing with Dirk. And then Ryan, as I spoke about earlier, I think he's a big sleeper in the truck series. He kept improving each week in the Cup series and road courses. Just watch out for him. The kid can drive. And this is my number 5 slot as Trophy Hunter. A little bit, I felt like they could have slid up to 3 or 4 slot because if Blue Star runs the whole season, I think they can compete for that championship. If he's not there, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Twinkie to perform. Tata, great drivers. I think people have stated, I think he scored the 3rd most points, and he was one of the more consistent drivers throughout the season. Tata should get a couple wins and a lot of stage points. And their truck team, Dirty Fox, a good racer. Seabake is great on super speedways, and we're adding those again. And then Dave is also improving as well. So I could see that team sliding up to number 3 in my power rankings, depending on if Blue Star runs the full season or not. I know that's a hit or miss right now on that one.
Yeah,
that's my top 5.
Yeah, a couple of takeaways from your top 5 there, Fred. One, I loved the analogy that you made from Shadow to Carson Hocevar. I think that is absolutely perfect. A guy who is really fast but very aggressive, and I think that works into his favor sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. So I'll be excited to see how he does this year. Also, I think you make a great point with Jason TD. If he shows up every week, I could easily see them sliding up from where I had them at 4. I could see them maybe being 2nd, 3rd, or even competing for a championship. But that's a big if, and I think there's a few teams and a few drivers that have big ifs. You know, like I mentioned before, that was one of the surprises of the draft to me. You got owners taking chances on guys that are kind of not. They haven't like proven to be committed or attendance wise, so you just don't know. But if those guys all show up, it could really mix up things. Crow, you want to go?
I think a big part of that was the new rule that 2 out of the 3, the best 2 in each division are going to score instead of all 3. So it kind of gave us a mulligan in each division.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Crow.
I agree.
All right. I guess I'll be the devil's advocate here. Going number 1, I have Nightmare Racing.
Ooh.
Kind of going off of history here. You know, they had 2 Cup drivers in the top 5 in points last year. Pretty solid, and then Rowe, kind of a 3rd edition there, but you know, maybe being in the party with Nilla and DJ could kind of turn him around a little bit, kind of boost him up in the standings.
And Rowe finished 6th himself in the Cup standings as well. He was right there.
Yeah, that's why I labeled him as a boomer bust, because he runs great, but then occasionally he falls into the hole. He'll leave the Xbox chat, and he gets aggravated during the race. That's what I'm saying. He's either high or he's low. It's one or the other. But he's a great racer.
And then touching on their truck side, just looking at, you know, you got Mudflap. I think he led the way in both divisions with stage points last year, and won the title. You know, he's got a season of these trucks, him and Dirk, a season of trucks under their belt. You know, Dirk was one of the hottest guys to start, and then him and Mudflap were kind of tit for tat there throughout the season. You know, I'd like to lean on history there, thinking that they would especially with a season under their belt, they would kind of rerun everything, and I kind of expect to see them both kind of sitting in the top five pretty pretty easily there. And then Ryan, I think he's going to be. I expect him to be in the top five there. I think you know in the Cup cars, he kind of turned his season around there about mid-season from running, kind of in the back to kind of in the low teens. So I think you put him in a slower vehicle in the truck, a little bit more stable. I think he could turn some heads early in the season. Going off at number two, I have extreme speed. Um, I gave them a slight edge over my number three ranking in prestige. Um, just going off of the truck roster compared to prestige, I think I just gave them a slight nod there. Um, the cup side, I kind of seen Shockz and Cone as kind of a one for one trade off there, and then both, Cobra and NLS and Welt Dang and Tyreek. I haven't seen them. I've only seen Cobra, so kind of just saying it's all kind of equal there in my mind. Just kind of giving the nod to Jack Mustang and Mets over Brad Seabass and Old Guy. I think I just give them a slight nod for that second spot, with Prestige coming up in third. And then coming up fourth, I have Scuderia. Kind of like everybody was saying. I think the Cup side, it's just a tick below those three in front of them. I wouldn't say they have as much of a ceiling, but the floor is definitely there to get solid points every week. There was a slight downgrade, I would say, in the truck rides. But who's to say what could happen? And then fifth with Trophy Hunter and Twinkie over there. Like you said, Nilla. I think Tata at 2 was a great pick, but then maybe that pre-draft trade might have affected him, kind of getting out of the top 10 and not having as many picks towards the front end of that draft. Maybe that reduced the caliber, I guess you could say, of a driver that he was able to get. With I wouldn't say any of these guys are bad by no means, but I definitely thought maybe if he would have had his original pick, he could have had 2 picks in the top 10 and was able to notch maybe just a tick above what he ended up with. But that's kind of my opinions on the team power rankings.
Well, I think it kind of sounds like the one thing we can all agree on is that we thought that Trophy Hunter kind of left some speed on the table in the draft, and it's not necessarily who they took for me, it's who they took over compared to guys who were available. Like there was just a couple guys sitting there available at a couple of Trophy Hunters pick slots where I was really surprised they didn't take them. One, for example, being how Jack got to 11th. I mean, Trophy Hunter had back-to-back picks before that where he could have took Jack with one of them and he didn't, and that really surprised me. So like I said, it's not that I'm knocking the guys that they got; it's more of like who they didn't get when they could have. I am surprised to hear you say Nightmare Racing at number 1, although I'm glad to hear it. I would have put us number 1 if it wasn't for all the variables involved. I think there's a lot of new guys coming in with a lot of speed. So while I'm happy that we brought back the same team, it's also like, did we kind of not adjust for all the new talent coming in? Are we kind of sitting still while the others are kind of moving up? But nonetheless, I think we'll compete, and I think we'll have a good season. Like I said, Tunda and Shockz being team owners, I guess we'll kind of leave them out of that conversation. We can move on to the next topic, which I have as the season 13 chase predictions. What I'll do real quick is I'll just run through the 12 guys in each series that I have making the chase. They're not in any particular order. I didn't pre-pick a champion. I think there's so many guys that could come away with that it's almost like just guessing. But if you guys kind of want to chime in on what I got, or if you have your own list, feel free. But here's what I got as far as the 12 Cup guys making the chase in season 13. Okay, I have Line Cone, Extreme Shockz. You guys let me know when you hear one that surprises you.
Okay, super obvious.
Tata Head,
Yep.
Nilla, Stein at 5 here. Remember, not fifth, just the 5th guy I have on the list. Cobra, Tyreek, Welp Dang, DJ Win, LXTX, Row the Boat, and then the 12th spot was always the hardest, right? Because you're leaving off guys, you're having to figure out who's going to get that last spot. And I actually went with a guy that hasn't got talked about. I don't think he got talked about on Tuesday night. He didn't get drafted. And I'm going to throw in T-Glass here. I think T-Glass shows up to a lot of races. Coming out of retirement last year, he wasn't the typical T-Glass that we saw. In seasons past, whenever he was racing with us, he was, competing for wins every week. He wasn't necessarily doing that, but I think he's consistent enough, and there's a lot of question marks surrounding some of the other guys that are coming in, that I'm going to take him with the 12th spot there. And some notable snubs I have on here. It's mostly new guys, just that I know are fast, but just don't know how many weeks they'll show up. And that's Spartan, Blue Star, Bryn, NLS Network, and actually my 5th is Tango, who we did get a look at last year. I think that he is fast. He's borderline right around that T-Glass range where he could have stuck in that 12th spot, so I threw him in the snubs part. Do you guys want to comment on my predictions?
Well, I think Shadow's going to find a way to sneak his way in. Him, Final One, if he comes back. Twinkie's right on that edge there. I think those guys are going to... They're wily veterans by this time at HRL. They've been around 5-6 seasons apiece. I think they'll find a way to squeak their way in.
Yeah, I think Shadow is the sleeper of that crew. No one's really talking about him right now.
I mean, that's valid. I mean, he won the season finale there at Vegas. My thought process was on leaving Shadow out was that he kind of finished in that, what was he, like about 10th range last year in the standings? Is that about where he was?
I think 11th. 11th, I believe.
Okay. And my thinking was, I just think there's going to be a couple guys that are coming in that are going to knock him down to like that 13th, 14th range. So that's kind of the reason why I left him out. But
Well, I was sitting there, I was looking at my list, and I was watching yours, and we didn't talk about our lists before we came into the show today, but my 12 was the exact same as yours up to the last one. So I was low-key start kind of like freaking out as you got lower to your list, because I was like, we have the exact same list. My last pick came down between 2 guys, and it was between T-Glass and it was between Spartan. And a lot of the times when it comes down to those last few picks, a lot of times it's attendance related. And, I talked to both of those guys, before the draft, just trying to get checks on attendance and whatnot. And they both are full time, but I expect to see Spartan week in and week out. And I don't think we'll be shocked if we see him miss a race. And that's the reason I gave him the edge for that last spot.
yeah, I mean, so it was a tough decision because to me, it was like, do I want to take these guys like DJ, Row the Boat, LX, T-Glass, and I put them in, but it's like, do I want to take them over the guys that I left out, like Spartan, Blue Star, Bryn, NLS? I could easily see on any given week those guys I left out being faster than the guys I put in, but I just went a little bit more safe with guys that I was familiar with and guys that I saw show up to a lot of races last year, and I kind of gave them the edge there.
Well, if Blue Star is, if he shows up continuously, I think he's 100% in the top 12. But last time I talked to him, I heard he was part-time, so that's why I was shocked when I saw Trophy Hunter take him. That could have changed since then, or he could have not told me the truth. I don't know which it is. but that dude's got a heck of a lot of speed. So it's going to be more so dependent on how much he shows up, and I think that's how it's going to be for a lot of these guys. Is the attendance going to be consistent? Will it be regular? Will it be all 15 races or close to it? I think that's going to be your deciding factor. And like you said, DJ, I don't think he missed a race last year. Rowe might have missed one race. Alex missed one race, two races tops. Attendance matters, especially when it's such a close cutoff between all these guys.
Yeah, I probably spent 5 minutes there trying to figure out who I wanted to put in the 12th spot. I'm not gonna lie.
Two interesting sleeper names that I have that have not been mentioned since we looked at standings from last year. Ford Farm actually finished 9th, and he's a sleeper of a guy that just puts together points. Who could slide into that 12th slot there. He's definitely one. And I know this guy struggled all last season, and he usually misses qualifying. But for some reason, I feel like this may be Typhon's year of improving on this game. I could see him being the 12th guy. That's two sleepers that I at least see for guys returning that were not on your list that could be in that top 12.
Typhon's tough because I think through a lot of last season, I don't think he caught the understanding of the adjustments that we all figured out pretty early on. So I think he was really behind the 8 ball from that perspective. Ford Farm is a tough piece of the puzzle. I'd like to think of him a lot of times as a Ryan Newman Hocevar. That dude is he's a great driver, but he can be very tough to get around, and he's not afraid to do a little rubbing his racing when it comes down to the end of it needs to be.
Well, if you look at guys like Ford and Typhon, I mean, if we were talking about NASCAR Heat 5, they'd be no doubt top 5, top 10 predictions. But I just think last season I didn't see quite the same speed out of those two. More so Typhon than Ford. But I mean, look, this is our second season on the new game. We're going to all these tracks a second time, and I'd love nothing more than for those guys to prove me wrong and get in the chase this season. Were you guys done with the cup predictions? Did you want me to move on to the trucks?
Unless Crow's got something, I'm good to go to the trucks.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so on the truck side, I got Mudflap, Dirk, Brad K, Seabass. Now, those were the top 4 finishers in that series last year. There's no surprises there. And then from there, I'm going to skip to the new guys because I had a hard time, for me personally, leaving any cup guy that's dropping down to trucks out of the chase in the trucks. I would be really surprised if somebody that was running cup last year didn't even make the chase in the truck series. So then I went, obviously, Jack, Mustang, Old Guy up top, and Ryan Hurricane. I put all 5 of them in the chase. I could be wrong, but I felt like I had to. So that leaves 3 spots left. And I ultimately, these were tough spots because there's a lot of guys that can compete to get in down there. But with those last 3 spots, I went with Metz. I think he showed enough speed when he joined midway through the season. He finished 4th, I think, 4 times before he finally won a race. So I think he had 5 top 2 finishes and probably like 8 starts. Pretty impressive. I put him in there. I put Hitta in there. He's a guy I'm really high on this season. I think that he went second round, or I think it was second round in the draft for a reason. I think he was one of the top truck guys on the board that weren't already kept or a keeper. And then the last spot, I could have gone a lot of ways, but I'm putting all my chips in the basket that Chase the TD actually makes enough races this season to make the playoffs. And I think that we know it's not even a debate. If he shows up to races, he's going to make the playoffs. And so that's who I put in the 12th spot. So notable snubs I had. Dirty Fox, I think that's a huge snub. I think, being a keeper, he's a really fast driver. He showed it in his rookie year. Seabake, also huge snub, guy that I felt really bad leaving out. And then I have Tunda, who had a really good season last year. He finished 7th or 6th in the points, I believe. It's not necessarily a knock on these guys. It's more so all the talent coming in that I chose to put in, these new cup guys dropping down over these guys. And then I have 4th and 5th on my snubs, Dash Dizzy and Rabid Rabbit.
Yeah. I'll let Tunda. I'm
Not
not
a
his name,
bad
but this is
list.
more her division.
I'm getting in. I can tell you that. It just seems that since I came in, there's one season I did miss. I didn't make the playoffs, and we only had one division, and my head wasn't really in it. So I think I'm just my racecraft adjusts well, and there's more than speed, especially down in trucks. There's kind of speed cap on us, it feels like, and once we start getting all racy, it's an adjustment for sure. But from what I hear about Cup, these guys might already be adjusted, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Is there a bold prediction? One of the guys moving down does not make the chase.
Well, I'll tell you, I did not have Ryan or up top on my list. So I went more of the OG trust the trucks. This is their rhythm. This is their consistency. I went with Seabake because I mean we're talking about a guy that's fourth on the all-time starts list, slowly creeping in on third. The guy's got experience, and I'm going to talk about that a little later when we make our picks. I rocked with Dirty Fox because he was a rookie last season as well. Finished fifth in the standings. I think that's a guy that's only going to get faster. And, I think he's a name to watch this season as well. And then I also put Tunda in there because Tunda is consistent. And when we were doing some of the truck testing, I was also impressed with him. And kind of like I talked about with the Cup, I think attendance matters. I think Chase is a top three, top five at least fastest guy in trucks, but it's all about attendance. And when you've got 15 races and when you miss a race, you only get 10 points. And you only get 2 races for those provisions. It's tough. So I went more the OG truck side. I really love Ryan up top. I think both. I think Ryan will adjust well. I just think he'll start the season a little behind the 8 ball trying to adjust the trucks. And I think eventually he'll get the hang of it, but I think it's going to be too little too late.
So who did you leave out that I put in Shockz in the trucks?
Who did so I didn't have Ryan. I didn't have up top. And then read me your last name.
Did you have Chase?
That you
did you have Chase?
No, I did not have Chase. I do not trust the attendance.
And did you have Hitta?
With him, I did. Yes, I think Hitta is going to do wonderful things this season.
So it sounds
I
like
think that's the guy that's.
So it sounds like you had all the Cup guys dropping down in except up top and Ryan.
Yes, I had old guy. I had
Jack Mustang.
Yep.
Okay, so you left out up top Ryan and Chase and put in Dirty Fox, Seabake, and Tunda. Is that right?
Yep, you got it.
So you put in my first 3 snubs. Look, the trucks were a lot harder at the bottom than the Cup because I knew I was leaving guys out that were going to be very controversial, and they're guys that would have never got left out if it wasn't for the Cup guys moving down. So I'm banking on all those truck guys pretty much having, or all those Cup guys moving down having success, while you're kind of giving the nod to some of these guys that have been there, done that in the truck series, and I like it.
I have a name I don't know if anybody's talked about. I can throw his name in.
Yep, man.
I'm wondering if the same name I have too, so I'm interested on this one.
The guy who I'm talking about, me and Nilla actually got to speak with him. I think it's the first time we ever talked with him in our pre-draft interviews. Uncle Alex.
Yep.
It's the first time I've ever spoke to him, and he kind of sounded like he was kind of like Ryan in the Cup Series, kind of coming from Formula One. I think he said he'd never done a NASCAR game. Came in. I think he raced all but one race. He got a top 5 late in the season. Pretty consistent. I think he beat some of these faster guys in front of him just on attendance based on the points. But yeah, it sounded like he was kind of getting his head around the setups and kind of getting used to everybody. It kind of sounded like he was getting a little racy there at the end of the season. But that's just my guy. That we talked to him, and he sounds like a good guy, and that's the guy who I think he'll be my early season prediction sleeper for that division.
And while we're talking about sleepers, there's a few others that we haven't talked about that will 100% compete for a chase spot. It's all about attendance because I look at guys on here on the Truck Series roster like uh, Derek, who I heard is coming back, Dave, Tall Mike. These are all guys that if they get their attendance in order, they'll compete for a top 12 spot and get into the chase. But I couldn't rely on that to happen, so I kind of skipped over them. But they definitely have the speed to do so.
Yeah, I think one more guy I have to keep a look on is our boy Tall Mike. That's the guy that did win a race or two last season.
Yeah.
I talked to him through the off season, and he told me he just wasn't mentally prepared. He still had some family stuff going on, and whenever minutes passed, he wasn't ready to come back full time. But he said this season he plans on coming back more consistently. So I think that's another guy we're gonna have to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I literally, when I was looking at the sheet, I was like, man, Tall Mike won a race last year. How do I not put him in there? But like I said, it's just I want to, before I could do it, I want to see him show up to a full schedule and get back on track again. But I definitely love to see it.
I think Joe might sneak his way in too.
Joe,
There's a name.
The Goat, Hall of Famer.
Well,
plate tracks are coming back in. I think his last win was at a plate track, Talladega, the same day as mine, back when we did double headers.
Yeah,
he's very consistent, and he was incredibly close to winning a whole bunch of truck races last season, but something would happen, whether it be traffic or getting a wreck or one of his rivals out there, or maybe just missing fuel by a lap or two. But he's close to getting it.
Well, I'll tell you, until he gives me a truck number, you're not going to see the guy on the racetrack. So I don't know what to say from that perspective.
Joe, message
Shockz.
Message me first, Joe.
There you go.
Old Joe just doesn't check the Discord often enough. You hate to see it.
All right. Well, if we're done with the kind of chase prediction conversation there,
yeah,
we're gonna move on to a section or a segment, I should say, that I'm gonna let Shockz take the floor on. It's gonna be our debut of fact or fiction. Go ahead, Shockz.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask a question, and you're gonna, if you believe it's a fact, if you believe it's true, that's what you say. But if you believe it's not true, then you're gonna tell me fiction. First question is gonna go to Scarecrow. Both divisions will have 9 or more race winners this season. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna go with fiction. I think you can see it happen in the Cup Series, but I think with the addition of a lot of faster guys in the trucks, I think you're going to see some of those wins that were kind of mopped up by a few of the other drivers. I think some of these fast guys might be able to kind of close that gap, and I'm predicting about 6 or 7. But yeah, I don't think the Truck Series gets to that 9 mark.
Well, I guess I'll go next.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say fact. Cup side, I think it's easy. I mean, I just think with all guys coming in, we already had about 7, I think, new winners last year. We saw it. They didn't stick around, but we had guys like Camo, Proxy, I believe, Cobra, Stein. We had guys come in from a similar, from the same series that some of these other new guys are coming in from, and I think all those guys claim like a win apiece at least, and then you got your stables, you got your Shockz, your Cone, your Tata, those 3 are gonna get a win. So I really don't see how there's less than 9 winners on the Cup side, but I'm also gonna say fact on the truck side. I think that they had 9 winners exactly last season, and if you look at it, do I see Seabass winning a race? Yes. Mudflap, Dirk, Brad K, Mets, that's 5. And then do I see Jack, Mustang, old guy on a road course, Ryan possibly on a road course? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say 9 gets there on the truck side too. I'm gonna say fact for both divisions.
I'll hop in and I'll disagree. I'm gonna go fiction, but I think it's gonna be the opposite of what Grove is saying. I think the trucks. I think we might get 10, maybe even more different winners this season. It's going to be crazy out there. But in the Cup Series, I think Cone and Shockz are going to line in or lock in. I think they're going to go back to war. And I think each of them are going to scoop up 5 apiece. I don't think there's going to be enough races to get 9 winners in the Cup Series.
Jeez, make me go back. A lot of people don't know about the Cone and Shockz little rivalry that was around seasons
Ever
past.
since Cone got
It's
here,
still here.
those two-
It's there. Don't get me wrong, but that's a crazy. Fred, I'll let you give your answer before I give mine.
We all know for every Cone win he gets, Shockz is like, God, I got it, because he's looking at that all-time wins list, and while he has a big gap
Burns
right
a
now,
little man.
and he's either
Burns
second
local.
place or not there.
yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
think locking
that's
in.
a great point.
I think Cup is fiction. I'm going under 9. I think you maybe have 5, 6 winners. I think it's going to be a little bit of domination of these couple newer guys I know that are extremely fast, and there'll be that tier of guys that run 4th to 7th that could win, but I don't think they will win. So I'm going with probably 7 to 8 for the Cup Series. The Truck Series, though, I'm going fact. I think that is wide open. That's a big pool of drivers you have in there. Now that you've added super speedways, they got 2 road courses. They're going to Lime Rock, which is an interesting one in itself to see who can master the rock there. I'm going to be really intrigued to see that Truck Series, though. I think it's going to be way over 9.
I think
I'm going with 7 to 8.
I think Fred brings up a big point, a good point there, in that we have 2 super speedways this year, and I think that will lend itself to having, the more winners as well, because, you could have a guy like Fredbob, who's a super great speedway racer seemingly, go ahead and grab a win, and there locks up one of the spots of drivers a different winner. So I'm gonna stand by my fact. It's gonna go over in both series.
I said 10 plus in both.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think Trucks is crazy wide open. Like I was completely with Fred. I think we are going to see a mass amount of. We already had 9 last season in the trucks alone. Now we've thrown in 5 guys to stir into the pot from the Cup division that I think are very similar on speed. We've got 2 road courses, 2 super speedways. I think we can get 10 plus in trucks. See a guy like Dirty Fox grab his first win. I think the opportunities are endless over there. And I thought Tunda's was. I love the boldness of the take. I think there's going to be 10 plus in Cup 2. Between Cone did his thing last season. Yeah, I agree. That guy's got a ton of speed on him, but I think you're going to see the most competition that the Cup Series has ever seen before. He had 6 wins last season. I think that number's cut in half. Got to think of guys like Tata. Tata had 3 of them. Shadow stole 1. Fred can steal 1 a super speedway. Got 2 road courses up for grabs. Cobra, Stein, Tyreek, well, 2 guys we haven't seen. A lot of new Cup guys. NLS, Pumps is somebody that I think can very sneakily impress a lot of people this season. I think it's wide open, and I think we're going to see a lot of different winners.
All right.
But
moving
on.
Topic.
Yeah, and this one's going to be going to you. So, Nightmare Racing will win another team championship this season after falling short to Maglione Racing.
Do you want me to answer with my heart or my head?
I would go both.
No, listen. I kind of touched on this topic earlier. I love that we brought back the core group last year. I think that if DJ had been a part of our team all year, we probably would have won the championship. Unfortunately, we got him towards the end when it was just a little bit too late. But I'm not going to ignore all the new people coming in that could really shake things up. It would be an immediate yes if we were just picking up this season where last season left off with nobody new coming in. It wouldn't even be a question for me. I'd be like, yes, we're going to win the championship. I still think we can. I think we're consistent enough, and we showed enough success last year to do so. but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be tough. I think teams have only gotten better. The talent pool's only gotten better. But if the question is, can we? Yes. If the question is, will we? I'm going to kind of do a cop out here to say it remains to be seen.
Tunda.
Ooh, they have the most titles among active teams of all
Domination,
teams,
to be
I
honest.
think, in HRL history. But I think it's going to be at least another season before they get another one. I'm actually flipping over to the screen right now. It came to be faster than I expected. But looking at the team rosters, I think Prestige Worldwide is a contender once again. I think it's going to be fight for second, and who's going to take him down. I think if we can, my team ourselves can get some stage points, I think we could be the ones to do that. I think easily Extreme Speed could do it, but I don't think Nightmare's going to get it this season. I think their secret sauce got found.
Yeah, I'll let Fred go in a second, but I want to say I don't know what the worst Nightmare has ever finished in the truck and the team standings. I'm not sure, but I think it's this season. I think I don't see them above third at best. That's just my guess, but I'll let Fred take a hit at it.
This one kind of holds close to my chest. Is Nightmare is the only team I've ever raced for, going all the way back to season 8, which makes me a pretty long-term member, which I'm no longer a member in Nightmare Racing. Season 8 to season 12, basically. So it hurts me to say it, but I don't see it with the talent pool with the other teams, with the drivers that they have. I think you can never count Nightmare out. I remember, was it season 9, season 10? We thought we were out of it, and then somehow we pulled it together. I think we won 4 straight when I was there at 8. Was it 8, 9, 10, and 11? We won it. So, but I think it's going to be between the Extreme team and the Prestige team most likely for it. So I'm going to go with Nightmare now.
I just gotta say, it's interesting too that besides Crow, he had Nightmare at number 1. But it's interesting that it's kind of a consensus amongst the rest of us that the two team owners or 2 teams that are reopening their garages this year after a hiatus are the top 2 in the power rankings. Pretty impressive.
Gosh, those must be some smart guys. I don't know. Must be pretty good at their jobs. But Crow, you got anything? Or are you good?
No, I'm gonna say fact. I think they run it back, and I think with when they were able to kind of stabilize their cup division side of it, and I think truck wise, I think they'll be plenty fine. So yeah, I think fact. I think they run it back, and I think they win another one.
Touche. Okay. All right. Fred, does at least one free agent driver win the Mantis Memorial? At least one.
Wow.
Fact or fiction?
Ooh. I'm going to go with fact. And I'm going to possibly go fact for both because it's Talladega. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You can see it right now. I'm looking at the free agent report right now for the Cup Series. This may be a teaser to a later question is Richie. If Richie runs, he runs great at plate tracks. He's a free agent. I could say Spartan's very good at plate tracks. Tim Gnarly's another one who's coming back, a former HRL guy who's going to be running full-time this season. He was very good. Ford Farm, Mustang 501. There's a plethora of guys out there in the pool. If I had money to throw a couple units at each way for the long shot Vegas odds, they'd be a couple. The truck series is probably a little bit harder to say fact on, but I would say fact it could be done, especially with the tall mics. Heck, Tommy could pull it off. Tommy is a good restrictor plate racer if he's got the right guys hooked up with him. Up top is another one. Midnight is someone I would actually throw money on. No one really talks about him. Good racer, shows up every week. He's actually a great sleeper. So I'd go with fact. Definitely a fact in both.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Any rest of y'all chime in?
yeah, so this one's a tough one for me because on one hand, the argument is you got all these teamed up guys that are good working together on a super speedway. As we know, super speedway teamwork is like monumental. But I'm gonna say fact as well. There's just too many guys in the free agent pool on both sides, but specifically in the Cup side. There's just too many good super speedway racers that I'm looking at in the free agent pool that could win. Fredbob being one, Spartan I think you mentioned as well, and there's a handful of others. Like I find it hard to believe that we won't see at least one of the series where a free agent wins this week.
Yeah, Crow, Tunda.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with fiction, but I don't want to step on my picks for later, so I'll let Scarecrow go.
I'll go with facts, and I say that because I think with the introduction of this new the new package and the rules that we'll be running, I think you'll see a lot of different leaders. I think it'll kind of break up kind of the routine, I guess is maybe the wrong word, but kind of the routine of how super speedways have always been run uh, on here. But yeah, I think you see a lot of leaders, a lot of shaking up at the front of the pack. But yeah, I think fact. I think one of these free agent guys can hop onto the lead pack and give themselves a shot at the win at the end of the race.
Yeah, so I believe that's just going to be a cup thing, to my knowledge. But we're kind of talking about the graboid packages. I think what Crow was referring to a little bit. So that'll be exciting to see in Cup. And I believe y'all are sticking to the OG how we've always done it. We're just racing it out.
Yes, sir.
So that'll be interesting to see. That kind of transitions just kind of straight into our next topic, Talladega previews expectations. At least for me personally, I think a lot of strategy and team play is going to come into play both ways. Who knows about any alliances as well between teams. I think drivers are going to be figuring out how to work alongside their new teammates. Cup Series is going to be using the graboid package for the first time in HRL history. So, for a lot of the guys that have already ran that, I think it falls in their favor a little bit. But, for the guys who have never done this before, I think the question is how quickly can they adapt to this new kind of system. So it's going to be interesting. But I'll let you know. Let me know what your preview / expectation.
Has the graboid been announced to the Cup Series that it's going to be in effect?
Not.
It is right now.
Yeah, I've told a few guys that have asked me about it, but it hasn't been officially announced.
Because while there's a lot of guys in the Cup Series that have come from other leagues, I know that are very familiar with it, I would venture to guess that there's quite a few that will be learning it as well. But yeah, I mean, going to Talladega just to on the expectations and preview it, it's going to be interesting just because if you followed season 12 last year. First season on the new game, we didn't go to super speedways, at least not officially on the schedule. We ran some testing, but that was because the draft was kind of an issue at the beginning. It wasn't really working properly, but they fixed that, and all the super speedway races that I have done since that update have been awesome. So I'm super excited to go to the super speedway. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a big field. You're going to see, possibly 15 lines of 2 or 10 lines of 3 throughout the field, good racing, and it's kind of surprising for me because typically I don't look forward to super speedways. They're just not my cup of tea in terms of track style and racing. I prefer something a little bit more finesse, but I am excited for this one. So I look forward to a great Tuesday night coming up.
I think it's going to be pretty nuts. Going back to a plate track for the first time on this game, first time in a couple of seasons, and first time since what? April of 25?
It's been a while.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and we're going to have 30 plus on track in both divisions. It's going to be a great show. I wish we had spectate mode for it.
Oh, man.
Strategies are going to be on full display. Cars and trucks are going to be trying to shuffle in and out of line. Pit road, green flag, pit stops might cancel green flag pit stops. Anything can happen this Tuesday.
Absolutely. Fredbob.
I think it's going to be interesting to see the people that ghost, because I know running in other leagues and other events, the ghosting while drafting has been a big factor. So that's the one thing I'm going to look for, or not look forward to, but look into and watch around me and seeing how many people are ghosting, because that really affects the runs, as I've seen in other leagues and events. That's my one big thing that I wrote down was ghosting for the plate tracks, along with just seeing how everyone meshes. Like we said, it's the first race of the season. We haven't been to the super speedway in a while. There's some hotheads. There's some guys that don't really talk a lot that may want to project me like, what the heck are you doing? And I'm going to be interested to see. I don't think we see much green flag pit stops at all in stage 1 or stage 2. I think possibly in Cup Series we could have one, depending if it goes green all the way, but I don't think we will. I think there'll be a couple of yellows. I think stage 3 will be the green flag run, if there is one.
Yeah, I hope we do.
While I was sitting here talking to Fred Talk, I kind of thought of a fantastic factor fixture question, but I'll save it for the next segment on Tuesday.
Sure. This guy's
Just a little teaser. Just a little teaser.
Oh.
We're good.
All right. So, no, I'm gonna let you take this next part over because it's kind of your idea, but it's pick time.
Yeah. So.
It's a pick the Ronies.
Yeah. So this was one of the reasons that I wanted to get a preview Talladega episode in, even though we kind of just did a show 2 nights ago. Is that because since we're normally going to be doing our post-race show on Tuesdays after the race, we weren't going to be able to implement what I want to implement is us doing some kind of some picks for each race, because the Dega race would have already happened and we wouldn't have had a chance. So what we're going to do each Tuesday night is we're going to pick a favorite, a sleeper, and then we're also going to be doing an HRL Fantasy Elimination Challenge amongst the co-hosts and the hosts and the guests here each week. So after Tuesday night, we're gonna hop on, get on the show, fire it up, and we're gonna pick for Kansas, which is week 2. But right now, we're gonna pick for Dega. So what I'm gonna do, instead of everybody going around and doing their favorites and then everybody going around and doing their sleepers, let's just everyone kind of do their favorite and their sleeper, and then we'll go one by one. And I guess I'll start. So my favorite for we're doing both series, by the way. My favorite for the Cup Series at Dega is going to be Cobra. Cobra has in any super speedway race, I feel like I've ran with him. He always runs well. There's a few that I could say that about, but obviously you can only pick one. So I'm gonna go with Cobra. And then on the truck side, I'm gonna go with this one. Might be a little bit surprising, but I feel like he has speed on plate tracks, and it might be one that people weren't expecting. I'm gonna go with Mets. I think Mets could surprise some people on the Cup side and be a big favorite over there. Oh, sleepers. Sorry, sleepers. Okay. So then moving on to my sleepers. I'm gonna take somebody that's actually in the booth right now. He's our guest for this week, and it's Fredbob. I think I mentioned this in the draft show. Fredbob is super fast on super speedways. He either runs up front or he finds his way up to the front at the right time, and he's gonna be my sleeper for the Cup side. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he runs well or wins it. And then on the truck side, I believe I had... You guys help me out here. Who did I have on the truck side?
Up top.
Up top, yeah. Up
He's
top.
panicking.
Yeah, no,
There you
I had it written down here. I just couldn't find it. Yeah, no, I had it up top. I think he's one of the he is one of the Cup guys moving down to trucks, and I wanted to pick someone that kind of that wasn't drafted, wasn't like an obvious pick, and him being not drafted but having Cup pedigree a little bit from last year, I think that he could surprise some guys on the truck side and be a good sleeper for Talladega.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So, a little more short and sweet. For my favorites, for Cup, I'm gonna go Stein. Main reason that guy is a strategy guru. Um, that guy just always finds a way to put himself in a good situation, get up front when it matters most, especially super speedways. So I think he's going to be looking good at Dega with him, Shadow, Alex. My favorite for trucks, I'm going to go Seabag, and kind of what I was talking about earlier. He's fourth on the all-time starts list, and experience comes in very handy at these super speedways, and I think he's going to know how to use that to his advantage and get a win to start the season. Comes from my sleepers. I was actually thinking the same thing as Nilla, my sleeper Fredbob. I think he's an excellent restricted plate pacer who always finds himself at the front when it matters most, and I'm not going to be shocked one bit if he finds himself in victory lane or even within the top 5. My sleeper for Dega is going to be Tall Mike, and that's because I don't think there is any race that Tall Mike would rather win than the Mantis Memorial for his brother. And I think he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure that he gets the win.
All right, I'll head up next. My favorite for the Cup race this year, so my picks are they're a bit biased, but plate tracks are a strength for us here at Scuderia Tunda, so I'm going to pick LXTX as my favorite to win the Cup race. He's incredibly motivated. He almost got one last season, and he's got a good crew chief up there. He's got a couple of good wingmen. I think he's going to get it. And then on the truck side, your boy in the 88, Jawadi Tunda, is going to break the streak, and I'm heading back to victory lane. Let me tell you something, brother.
I like it. I like the confidence.
And then my sleeper picks here. He had an abysmal season, but he's had more time to get the game under him. We're going back to a plate track, and I think especially in the Cup Series, it really suits his driving style. I think Typhon is going to be my sleeper pick for the Cup race. And then on the truck side, he's always where you least expect him to be, and at a plate track, that's how you win. I think Joe's going to get it. Joe's my sleeper.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. I guess I'll go next.
Jack just said, "Whoa, Cup is using Grabway package."
Fred, you want to go?
We'll have some. We'll have
Breaking
more about
news.
Grabaway later. Crow, you can go.
All right. I'm going to change it up. I had some stuff wrote down earlier, but I think I might change my mind here after listening to you guys' picks. For my favorite in the Cup Series, I think I'm going to go with Talladega. I think he has been fast everywhere we go, and I think he'll be smart enough to kind of to stay with the lead pack. I think he's one to kind of do whatever it takes to get a win. I don't think he will stick to his teammates or anything like that. I think he'll do whatever it takes to get the win. For the truck side, I think I'll stick with my pick with Seabake, just kind of like what Shockz was saying. I think just being the veteran he is, he's going to want to run up front, be up front, and do whatever it takes to stay out there. With my sleeper pick in the Cup Series, I'll piggyback off Tunda, and I'll go with his teammate with Shadow. I think he will go back to back, winning the last race of the season, and I think he'll win the first race of this season as a sleeper. And then in the truck series, kind of told on this back and forth, but I think I'm going to change my pick and go with Midnight. I think he's ran well all last year, and I think he finds his way into victory lane this season at the Mantis Memorial.
Shout out Midnight. think that leads Fred.
I listed about 5 drivers for the favorite. I was doing like Vegas numbers here, and it's funny. Tato was on my board for the favorite. He always runs really well in stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. It always feels like he falls apart. Spartan, I feel like, is very good. Shadow, I had up there. But I'm gonna go with my favorite is NLS. Guy can run plate tracks from what I've seen. He's very good at them. I've worked with him in a different league, but no, the dude can run plate tracks. And then my favorite for the truck series, it kind of seems like the Vegas odds are getting almost even. I'm going with Seabake. He's always run very well at super speedways. There's no doubt. Dude can move a car around a track there. And then sleepers, I'm going to go to the truck series first. I'm going to go Mustang. Mustang is my sleeper pick for that. He's another guy that I think maneuvers well around super speedways. And then sleeper for the Cup Series, I'm going to go with, this is I'm going to go with Shadow. Shadow is my sleeper. I feel like he's going to be there at the end. And he's kind of has that Tatum mentality. Teammates, no teammates there. He's just going to try to win the race.
I'm gonna give Fred a pass because I doubt he was relayed the specific information. But for the sleeper, we were picking guys that weren't drafted or weren't on teams. Yeah, no, it's fine. You didn't know. It's fine.
So I'll reboot back to that for the sleeper then. Sleeper for Cup, I'm gonna go with Spartan.
Okay.
And then sleeper for truck, I'm going to go with Up Top.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, so I think we got everyone's favorite and sleepers.
Just got to pick now.
Yeah, so the last part of our pick segment that we want to do is, if you're familiar with it, you know, a lot of times we do the, or right now even, we're doing the IRL NASCAR Fantasy Elimination Picks, which, you know, I'm just going to go over it in case you're not familiar. You pick one driver each week. You're gonna get points for however many points they score in the race, you know, between stages, race win, lead lap, all that type of stuff. Anything that counts for our standings is going to count for their points for the HRL fantasy pick. And then once you use a driver, you cannot use them again until it resets, and we're going to do a reset when the chase starts. So you're going to pick 14 different drivers, one each week in the regular season, and then at chase time, it'll reset, and you know you'll have a full field of drivers to pick from again. And whoever has the most accumulated points throughout the season will win. So let's start with the guests. Let's go back to Fredbob. The way we're going to do the guests is they're going to make their elimination pick for each series, and that'll take them away from future guests coming on. So whoever Fred uses this week on the Cup and Truck side, the guest that comes in after the race on Tuesday, whoever it may be, they'll be knocked off their list. They cannot use that guy for, you know, until it resets and so on. So who do you got this week, Fredbob?
I'm gonna go with Truck Series first and Brad K. I think he's gonna score a lot of stage points. He's gonna be there at the end. I think he'll come up a little bit short because I didn't pick him as my winner, but I feel like he's always runs very solid in the top 10 of the stages. So I think he's going to get a lot of stage points. And then for the Cup side of it, I kept going back and forth because I wanted to use this one player that I feel like won't be used a lot, but another guy that I know that runs really well at restrictor plates. And I'm going to go with Spartan as my Cup guy.
Okay.
Richie was my other pick, but I'm not sure if he's going to make it past stage 2. Richie runs well at restrictor plates.
That's fair.
He runs very, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, man, I just drew a blank. There was something I was going to say. Go ahead, Shockz. You go. I was trying to think about what I was going to say.
My pick for Cup is going to be Shadow. He has a good resume. Had these super speedways, like Tunda said, it's their bread and butter. Didn't second question that one too much. And somebody that I talked about earlier, my truck pick is going to be Tall Mike. I just got a feeling he's going to succeed when the race is about his brother.
That would be something, huh? Tall Mike winning one of the Mantis Memorial.
That would be awesome.
I mean, how do you not root for that?
Tell me about it.
Scarecrow?
All right. Uh, I'll piggyback what I said earlier. I think Shadow is going to be my cut pick. I think he will repeat back-to-back wins, and I think Tunda will be my Truck Series pick. I think the Scoot Boys will.
The
I
Scoot
think they'll
Boys.
find a way to get a lot of points, and I think they'll have a good race.
All right. Tanda?
Well, my official picks in the Cup Series, I'm going to go with Talladega. I don't think that's wasting a pick because I think that's a good one. That's going to give me a whole lot of points. I think he's got a shot. And then on the truck side, I'm picking me because it is one of my few shots to win, and this is the best use of me.
Okay. All right, so I guess that leaves me on the truck or on the cup side. I mean, I'm just gonna stick with the guy that I had as my sleeper. We go with Fred. Like I said before, really good super speedway racer. I think this is a track that he has the most. I could get the most value out of him, to be honest. This and probably Daytona. And then for the truck side, I'm actually gonna go with Mustang, and I almost didn't do it because I'm like, dang, Mustang could be a guy that is really good at a lot of tracks, and do I want to use him on a super speedway? But I'm kind of going bold. I think he's dropping down to the truck series. I think he likes super speedways. I think that he's going to be looking to, get back in victory lane quickly after a rough season there in his limited cup schedule last season. And I'm going to go ahead and burn up Mustang as my first elimination pick this week. I think that kind of concludes our topics. Was there anything else you guys wanted to add?
We had a couple of questions come in over the course of the show. The first one was, who are you guys' top 5 for the Cup Series?
Oh man, see, I specifically did 12 because I thought 5 was gonna be so hard to narrow it down to. Man, without even, I'll just be the guinea pig. That's fine. I'll go first and give you guys a chance to think about it. I'll just say right now, I'm putting Shockz and coming in. I don't think that there's much controversy about that. I think there's a lot of guys. I think a lot of talent. It wouldn't surprise me if I saw one of those guys get left out, just because of how many good guys there are. But I'm going to put them in just on principle and respect alone. After that, it's hard for me to leave Stein out, so I'm going to give Stein the 3rd spot. He made the Final 4 on our Monday league that has a lot of these same guys, and so I'll give him a nod there to that 3rd spot.
I got him drafted, by the way.
Yeah. Man, this is where it gets hard. There's so many guys that could.
Got 2 more.
Yeah, there's so many guys that could take up these 4th and 5th slots. I'm gonna go 4th slot Cobra. I think similarly to Stein, just really fast everywhere, a lot of speed. And I think he does enough to get into the final 5. And then the last spot, it's really dependent on who shows up more, to be honest. There's so many guys. I'm going to give it to Tata. I'm going to put him over these guys that kind of have question marks on attendance and that haven't started yet in HRL. I'm going to give it to Tata. I think he's earned that. I think he was top 3 all last season. He doesn't miss many races, and he had a fantastic average per race. I think he might have been second to only Shockz in average per race last season. So I'll go ahead and give Tata some love in that 5th slot.
Want me to jump through? You still think Shockz?
Go ahead, Fred. Go ahead.
All right. This is going to be like bing, bang, bong here. It's going to be Cone, Shockz, Welpdang, Tata, and I'm going to throw in a guy that was not listed, Tyreek, is my 5th. Cobra was close, but I'm going to go Tyreek.
The,
Touche.
I'm gonna
Okay.
write this. I'm gonna put
Well,
this down real quick. Say that again, Fredbob. I'm just making notes.
Let's see if I can get it through again. Shockz, Cone, Welp, Dang. I said Tata, Tyree, correct?
Yes. Okay, cool.
yes.
I just want to make a note of it. Okay.
Alright. I am gonna go me, Cone, Tata. I'm gonna go DJ.
DJ
And
mentioned.
for the fifth, oh my gosh, this is tough. I am gonna go Cobra.
Bruh,
So it was Shockz, Cone, Tata, Cobra, and Welp, you said?
DJ.
DJ.
DJ. Okay.
Scarecrow?
All right. I'll piggyback off of what Shock said. We'll go Calm. We'll go Shots. We will go Tata at number 3. We will go Nilla at number 4. I don't know why Nilla's not getting any love. And then DJ to round out my top 5.
I was torn between Nilla and DJ. I'm not gonna lie.
So I actually have last season's points earned per start. And now I think Scarecrow had that in front of him. Because the top 5 in points earned per start with more than 10 with 10 or more starts in order are Shockz, Cone, Tata Head, Nilla, DJ.
Is that the
I'm
5
gonna
you're
make
going
that my
with?
top 5.
Okay. So you and Crow went with the exact same 5. Got it.
I think we were looking at the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like, I have the utmost, confidence in my own ability. But it's one of those things that, like I said, like I kind of mentioned earlier when it came to teams.
Shaking in your boots a bit.
Well, it came back to one of those things I said in teams when Nightmare Racing kept our same group together. I would 100% put myself in the top 5, and I would 100% give Nightmare a chance or a favorite to win the championship if everything remained the same as last season. But I think there's so many new guys coming in that I think I would be being a little ambitious if I put myself in the top 5, to be honest.
Interesting.
So do we have another question? You said we had a couple.
We had one more come in, and it led to it was something that was brought up earlier in the show, the graboid rule, the Cup Series.
Okay.
Are you using it?
It sounds like that's the plan.
More on that?
That is the current plan. Something we've never done before, but we believe it can make for more competitive 2x2 racing. That is our current plan. Yes, it is.
And it's just Cup Series. Whoever's listening,
Yes.
it's just Cup Series. Truck is not
Yes.
running that. Truck's running their old school format.
Dale approved, if you will.
It kind of sounds like whoever sent that question in, just stay tuned for an announcement, probably. This kind of sounds like
Later this evening.
so.
Yeah, pretty soon here.
All right, does that wrap it up?
That's all I got, unless someone else saw one.
All right, boys. Well, I appreciate y'all joining me. Kind of on late notice, we kind of put this together this morning. We look forward to working with you guys all season here in the booth. And Fredbob, thank you for being our first guest appearance of the season. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with us for a bit. Other than that, we will see you guys on Tuesday night after the race.
See you next Tuesday.